We intercepted call for backup during your last fight. The caller's position is on your Soliton radar. You can engage if you wish. It is your choice. Up above you! Raiden, the cliff is just ahead at the end of the old city. Beyond that is the refinery's backyard.
So what? It's a sheer drop? The refinery's not connected to the city at all?
No, it was only built 2 years ago. There should be a narrow path around there that leads to the plant. It is protected by a fence, but probably you can cut your way through.
Probably.
Don't get cocky. Most likely it is Desperado running security down there. Watch out! They keep on coming! Good. That's the back of the refinery. I see a door there, but it probably has an alarm. Can you use the ventilation duct?
You mean that huge fan?
Just cut off the blades as it spins. Easy, yes?
We got anything on that ray I went up against?
We analyzed the wreckage. Its musculature had been replaced with CNT muscle fiber. The same type as you, or most any cyborg. This improved its power output and left more room in the chassis for other equipment. It seems they filled this space with Vetronics and extra weapons.
Like that heat blade and plasma gun. Plasma loses effectiveness in the air pretty quickly, but it's still a hell of a close-range weapon.
Large-scale UGs have a growing problem fighting smaller, more agile opponents like you, Raiden. This is why we now see UGs armed with new countermeasures, such as this ray had. Good. That's the back of the refinery. I see it. Can you...
You mean... So, Kev, buddy, about the refinery. Can I get a quick breakdown of the facilities?
Copy that. I suppose you should at least know a few basics for the mission. So, like I was saying, the refining process is based around distillation. The tallest building on site is the distillation tower. All the crude oil runs through there first, where it's distilled at different boiling ranges. Lighter components with low boiling points are removed at the top of the tower, heavier ones at the base. The heaviest fuel oil then has the lighter oils and naphtha that distillation didn't remove taken out. Fluid catalytic cracking is what they call it. Other than that, let's see. There's equipment to remove sulfur, a cooling tower to dispose of all the water used. Oh, and the flare stack to eliminate gas waste. You see that thing with flames shooting out the top? That's the stack.
It's burning the gas off?
Yeah, burns it up completely, rendering it harmless. Kinda hypnotic if you stare at it a while, huh? Next door you have a power plant. Pretty typical for this type of facility. And of course the gas tanks. Liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, is pressurized and stored in those round tanks. It's also artificial, but it's got a certain charm, you know? Like the ultimate in utilitarian beauty. A solitary distillation tower, all lit up and set against the setting sun. It's an amazing sight.
Kev, you still with me there?
What? You don't appreciate this kind of stuff? Places like Germany and Japan, people get really into it. Factory sightseeing tours and everything.
Yeah. No, not so much.
You know, I have to hand it to you guys. Cyborgs are just amazing to me. So much power and speed.
It's not all gravy.
No? How so?
Well, things have improved a lot in the past few years. But back when I was modded for the first time, keeping artificial blood free of impurities was a huge hassle. Artificial muscles need a constant flow of oxygen from a blood source, just like the real thing. But it was a challenge getting the kidney units as small as they needed to be. We all had to undergo routine dialysis.
Sounds rough.
Used to be even worse back when Dr. Clark was still experimenting. Bad nerve connections would screw with the test subject's pain receptors. It was torture. Compared to that, I had it pretty easy.
It wasn't until recently that you could eat and drink like normal people, right?
That's right. We generally use glucose-based nutrient packs to keep the brain running. But we can absorb nutrients orally now, too. Whatever we eat's broken down by nanomachines, and we have taste sensors as well. It's not exactly like it was before. The difference is, I can turn those sensors off if I don't need them. That's been surprisingly useful.
So cyborgs can live pretty much normal lives now?
Well, getting there. We still need fuel cells and nutrition packs, not to mention regular maintenance. It's a lot of dough. Of course, another big problem's how other people look at you.
How do you mean?
There was a time when I wore artificial skin. Tried to look as close to normal as possible. I've still got some now, on my face. The tech at the time wasn't great. You still looked pretty unnatural. Maybe you could fool someone from far away, but up close, even a baby could tell I wasn't human. Going out shopping or whatever, you could feel all those eyes on you. I tried to find something to do other than fight, but looking like I did got me 2 strikes pretty much as soon as I walked through the door.
That sounds terrible.
Well, you appreciated it when people were honest about it, at least. But when they were too polite to just say so, that was rough. Things are getting better these days, though. Artificial skin's improved a lot. And you don't get so many stares now that the general public knows about cyborgs.
Maybe I should look into the cyborg thing, huh? I could eat whatever I want, whenever I want.
Probably cheaper just getting lipo, Courtney.
Jerk.
Right, FYI, we just confirmed with the client for your next mission.
Great. How about we finish this one first, though? I'd like to see my family again someday, you know? My son's going to forget he even has a father.
90-day contracting tour, buddy. We're all in the same boat. Man, feels like ages since I was back in Virginia.
I don't know about in the same boat. These guys are out to tear me limb from limb. Worst you are EMF desk jockeys have to worry about are paper cuts.
All right. Guess you don't want to hear what your old friends are up to then.
Who is it?
Desperado.
Where is it this time?
Mexico. Apparently they've got some kind of lab in Guadalajara. You're going in to investigate claims of human trafficking and illegal dumping.
And our client? Who's picking up the tab? If we're planning to play police all of a sudden, we're gonna need some kind of budget.
No worries there. It's a human rights group we've worked with a few times before. They were conducting their own trafficking investigation when Desperado came up.
Understood. You can brief me when I get back.
Roger that.
Where the hell did Desperado get all these cyborgs anyway, Kev?
Hard to say. They're not as rare as they once were, but still. Of all registered PMC troops, we're still talking what, 3% have enhancements? Maybe 5% tops. Mostly career military who got hurt on the battlefield one way or another. Getting their arms or legs back lets them keep earning a living. But most able-bodied soldiers are still reluctant to sacrifice their own healthy body parts. Plus, the surgery is highly specialized. Expensive as hell. Not to mention maintenance costs after that. Unless insurance is footing the bill, most guys couldn't afford enhancements even if they wanted to.
Maverick's got some cyborgs. What's their story? They all wounded in action?
Mostly. I heard a few saved up and paid for it themselves, but just a few. There is this one crazy blonde guy, though. I heard he asked for a full body conversion.
The Patriots didn't leave me much of a body to begin with. I just had Herr Doctor finish what they started.
You know I'm just giving you shit, man. Anyway, yeah. Looking at the numbers, cyborg soldiers are still a pretty small minority. Not really surprising when only contractors in developed countries are offered insurance. Third world soldiers get hurt out on the field, and that's all she wrote. They can't work as a merc anymore. Most times, they can't really work at all.
Well, Desperado's up to something, because cyborgs are definitely not in the minority here.
I've heard of some PMCs covering the cost of the surgery for their disabled. The mercs get their career back, sure, but the PMCs aren't exactly running a charity. These guys have to work to pay it off until the company at least breaks even on them. Any cyborg breaks his contract early would probably be in debt for the rest of his life.
You think that's Desperado's MO?
I can't prove it, but sure as hell wouldn't surprise me.
So what kind of deal does Maverick offer its contractors?
Oh yeah, I forgot you're full-time too. You never contracted with us?
Nope. Boris invited me on board the first time we talked about it. We've known each other since Area 51. Didn't have any reason to turn him down, so yeah. Never really considered the contract route.
Right. Well, it's actually pretty rare for guys on the ground like you to be full-timers. Most of Maverick soldiers are contractors, just like with any other PMC. It just makes sense. After all, it's never the same job twice in this business. Each mission has its own requirements. Force size, skill set, all that crap. So generally, we contract out on a per-mission basis, or a fixed schedule for longer jobs. A lot of US companies are doing it that way lately, not just PMCs. Besides, a good contractor can earn more than most regular full-time employees. Definitely a hell of a lot more than regular military.
And if they want to quit, can they get out of their contract?
Yep. Of course, just up and quitting right in the middle of a mission would cause problems. Just like any other job, you know? We'd want some notice to settle on a new end date, but hold up. You're not thinking of leaving us, are you?
Just curious. You still busy with all that other work, Kev?
You know me, man. Kev of all trades. I got a lot on my plate. Briefing prep, arms procurement, client negotiation, HR, biz dev, accounting, you name it. Lately, though, I've been focusing more on sales and on-site coordination. Oh, and advisor work like this.
Never sleep, do you?
Things have been better since Courtney joined up, at least.
You still busy with all that other work, Kev?
You know me, man. Kev of all briefing lately.
Never. Courtney, there's something I'd like your opinion on.
What's up?
It's how I replenish my electrolytes. I'm basically feeding off these cyborgs.
Oh, yeah. That. I don't really see any better options, to be honest. I doubt your old body would have stood up against the Desperado captains or Jetstream Sam. And if we fail here, it's not only bad for us, but for our clients and all of Sakumi.
Yeah, you're right.
Besides, it's like you say, no one's forcing them to be here. They chose to throw in with the terrorists.
Yeah.
I won't lie, I don't feel great about it. But in the scheme of things, yes, I think it's justified.
Thanks. I guess it's never black and white in this business, is it?
No. No, it's not. Do you and Kevin work a lot together, Raiden?
Well, Maverick's not that big. Unless you're a short-term contractor, you tend to work with the same guys. Last job we were on together, I was hired by the Carabinieri to track down 3 Albanian mafiosos. They'd fled Italy for Montenegro, and I had to bring them back. It wasn't easy. All 3 of them had cybernetic upgrades. Without Kev, I could have been in serious trouble.
He was with an NGO before Maverick, I think, handling disarmament work for the UN.
Yeah. He and Boris met while working together to resolve a conflict in Africa. They hit it off. So when Boris gave him a job opportunity, he took it.
I kind of wonder why. We're pretty much the opposite of a disarmament outfit.
3 things are needed after a conflict: disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration into society. That's the way it usually goes. I guess Kevin felt like the process was getting to be a joke. Even if the UN taps the group that caused the conflict for post-war cleanup, there's no way of ensuring their sincere cooperation. There's always a chance they'll underreport the number of soldiers they've got on hand.
That, or they only disarm the useless parts of their force. The ones with outdated weapons and gear.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they can hide their standing force, the one with all the up-to-date weaponry, from the UN. Afghanistan saw a lot of that, since the wars were all waged by rival military cliques. Anyway, Kev saw that happening on a daily basis in Africa. Guess he just wanted a job where he had a firmer grasp on what was going on. And then along comes Boris. Kev had to think it over for a while, sure. But, well, here we all are.
PMCs are going to need more people like him. And me too, I guess. You know, civilian viewpoints.
Couldn't agree more.
What's up? No? Did you need...
No, just one.
Raiden, are you fully versed in the features of your AR display? It can serve many functions, you know.
Do I hear un lecture coming on?
A lecture? No, of course not. I'm hardly an expert. Of course, I know the first practical application of the technology was for aircraft HUDs. Then head-mounted displays, HMDs. The data could be seen even as the viewer moved their head. As the technology improved, it was integrated into retinal imaging, contact lenses. Soon it became standard issue not just for pilots, but infantry soldiers as well. Of course, with cyborgs such as yourself, the data can be fed directly to the optic nerve.
No lecture, huh? Anyway, there's more to my augmented reality than just upgraded HMD tech.
Of course there is, Dummkopf. You did not let me finish.
Oh, you weren't finished?
AR is a much broader concept. It is more a design concept than a particular imaging methodology. It encompasses HUDs, HMDs, any and all manner of visual real-time data overlay. Though recently, some reserve the AR label for virtual objects the subject can both see and touch. For example, your codec menu and zoom slider. Such objects do not exist anywhere in the real world, not even as images. They are fed directly to your optic nerve, so only you can see them. Yet, when you interact with them, sensory feedback is delivered to the nerves in your fingers. It gives you the sense of touching a thing that does not exist.
Beats lugging around a sat radio and giant scope, that's for sure.
There is another school of thought on precisely what constitutes AR.
Seriously, more of this?
It defines AR as anything which obscures the boundary between reality and that experienced by the viewer.
Well, how would that be different from VR?
Well, for example, let's say that you and I are having a nice chat face to face. Suddenly, I disappear, poof, and in my place appears a ravishing, nubile young woman. Is the girl the projected image or the reality? Perhaps I was the AR. How would you know?
The accent might be a clue.
Such things can be controlled with a simple hack of your auditory nerves.
Well, that's comforting. So how is this different from VR again?
Well, I suppose, strictly speaking, it is rather similar. Both are a method for completely fooling the senses, rather than simply augmenting them. Although, technically it would be MR, mixed reality, since there are some real elements involved. Yes, of course. That would be the distinction and the correct term. In any case, the advance of MR technology leads to many interesting philosophical questions. What happens when appearances cease to have meaning? It is no longer see it to believe it, after all. It could make for a great advance in cyborg acceptance, you know. They could project a perfectly normal human body to be seen by anyone who can perceive MR.
I don't know. Sounds like it might cause more problems than it'd solve to me. Hey Doc, what can you tell me about the carbon nanotubes used in artificial muscles? I know they're the real key behind the proliferation of cyborgs, but...
Well, a carbon nanotube, or CNT, is a sheet of carbon graphite formed like a tube. They range from 50 nanometers in diameter all the way down to under 1 nanometer. 1 nanometer, you recall, is one billionth of a meter. Quite small. As you've likely seen, the carbon atoms that make up the sheet are organized in a 6-point ring shape. These hexagonal structures are connected to each other along their edges.
Sort of like a soccer ball.
Precisely. Such structures are known as Buckminster fullerene. CNTs were discovered by accident while scientists were researching other fullerenes. CNTs have assorted properties, each with the potential to drive vast leaps in industrial technology. Consider, for example, that the conducting properties and resistance to strong currents far outclass copper. They have great mechanical strength and can be shaped into incredibly thin form factors, all of which can directly contribute to improving integrated circuits. Furthermore, the atomic links in sp2 carbon are the strongest of all types of atoms. Its tensile strength is greater than even diamond. All that, and its weight is only half that of aluminum. It is also quite elastic, making it ideal for bomb-proofing vehicles, buildings, and other structures.
Sounds like some kind of wonder material.
There have been numerous plans drawn up for orbital elevators in the past. The problem being that no material was strong enough to make them practical. CNTs make such dreams one step closer to reality. You can change their structures by using the right power voltage, and they can withstand temperatures between minus 190 and plus 1500 degrees centigrade. They feature a large surface area and an empty space within the tube. This allows for such things as fuel and catalysts to be stored inside. It's that particular trait which has enabled the development of fuel cell-infused artificial muscles.
Straight out of sci-fi, huh?
Well, truth is stranger than fiction. Science fiction, even. Scientists are currently expanding upon all of CNT's uses. But it has taken a fair amount of time since their discovery for practical implementations to pop up. Historically, mass manufacture was deemed too difficult, the costs astronomical.
Practical manufacturing methods were established in the early 2010s, but the Patriots hushed that up.
Indeed. And now that it's out in the wild, we are finally well and truly in the carbon nanotube age. You must continue along, Raiden.
Dolcev and his team must be in here. Find him. Raiden, wait. There are active IR sensors in the area. Part of factory security, no doubt, but the enemy may be using it.
classified Patriot information was in that man's photographic memory.
I was wondering when you'd come, Jack the Ripper.
No one calls me that anymore. Dolsaev, where is he?
I can show you a better time than that crusty old bear.
You're in charge here?
I am Mistral, the cold wind of France. And your reputation precedes you. Liberian, but white as snow. A natural-born killer, even as a child.
That was a long time ago.
I was born in Algeria myself, you know? I'm only half French.
And?
We had our own civil war in the 90s. So you see? Cut from the same cloth, you and I.
You don't know me.
I lost my whole family. Everything. But I butchered those fuckers. My family's killers. That's when I realized I am a killer too. And a good one at that. I slaughtered dozens in Iraq, in Afghanistan. I'd found my calling.
Proud of that, are you?
What happened, happened. To be honest, I found it quite dull. My enemies fell like domino, one after another. Not once did I feel threatened. I was adrift, without challenge, without purpose. At times, I even envied my prey. At least they had a cause to die for. And then, I met him.
Who?
And I knew what I had been missing. His ideals gave my life meaning. Ideals, Jack. What are yours?
I protect the weak.
Still? So naive.
And if I must kill to protect them, then so be it.
It seems we have less in common than I thought.
I'll take that as a compliment.
If you would kill for your ideals, then surely you are ready to die for them.
vitals are dropping.
I lost. So this is how they felt.
What?
Dying. For a cause.
Wait. No. Hold on.
I am sorry. He was too much.
I do not need apology. I need you alive.
But I know you will never fall.
What? What is this talk about?
Je t'aime. De tout mon corps.
Je t'aime. Mister, you never...
She's not talking to you, idiots.
You! You killed her! You vile nuts! Murderer!
That's rich coming from you. It's overdose, I have. Surrender.
Translation.
Why would I surrender? We are exactly where I want.
Shit.
Built with Russian money to make Russian money. It is no plan for outcasts. It is their prison. But now, they will be free!
Damn! Crazy son of a bitch!
Raiden? Raiden, what happened?
Bastard blew himself up!
I see. Time to get you out of there. We're sending a helicopter. Secure an LZ.
Understood.
So you've got some kind of disguise lined up, right?
Yep, all set.
Hope so. You'd be a little conspicuous just walking the streets.
Relax, Kev. I'll blend right in.
Yeah. Well, just get into the sewer system ASAP. Hopefully anyone who notices you will just mind their own business. You sure you want the K9000 there along for this one?
I had the good doctor make some adjustments along with the repairs. Remote piloting and AI wiping have been disabled. So yeah, I say let's throw him a bone.
Wordplay. My exoskeleton resembles a canine. Canines enjoy bones. Amusing on 2 levels.
Let's go.
¿Quién es ese güey? ¿Un mariachi? ¿No? ¿Un cyborg? Ese es un güero. ¿Qué?
Adiós, amigos.
¿Viste? Qué raro, ¿eh? Hay que hacer que no lo vimos. Vámonos ya.
It's Raiden. I'm in the sewer system.
All right, let's get started. Your mission's to investigate the Desperado-affiliated research center somewhere in that area. According to the intel from our client, the lab's been dumping illegal waste into those sewers. FYI, they're also involved with the cartels in human trafficking. Allegedly, anyway.
This just gets better and better.
Tell me about it. We need you to infiltrate the lab and find out everything you can. Of course, you'll have to find it first. We still don't know the exact location.
So I'm looking for anywhere the lab might hook up with the sewers?
Yep. If they're actually dumping waste, they've got to link up somehow. Find that connection, sneak into the lab, and see if you can find evidence implicating them on anything.
No problem. Stealth's my specialty.
Right. Well, we'll see.
Do we have any idea what kind of research they're doing there?
Not really. Maybe something related to all the people they're trafficking.
Like experimentation?
It's possible. First things first, though. Find a way into that lab. Oh, right. It says here the locals say Black crocodiles live in those sewers, so you know, watch out.
Black crocodiles? Could they be talking about UGs?
Maybe just an urban legend. But still, be careful.
I will scout ahead. You will provide backup.
Sir, yes, sir.
Commence operation.
How are things back in Abkhazia?
Thanks to the full efforts of the workers, power was restored in just 2 days.
Pretty impressive.
Only the power plant is back online though. Refinery itself will likely be out of service for months. Fuel sent from Supsa is being used to power the plant for now.
Just wish I could have stopped him.
Impossible without a sniper. And in our focus on anti-cyborg combat, we were unprepared. Thankfully, other than financial losses, few Abkhaz citizens were seriously affected. The plant workers had already been evacuated, and most were hired back on to rebuild the refinery. We received payment and are not being blamed for the suicide blast.
Good to hear. It should go a long way to help fix our reputation.
Duh. And even more good news. Desperado is down one of its top captains.
Let's hope they learned a lesson.
We can hope, but it is doubtful. We still do not know who is supporting them. Even if we shut Desperado down entirely, their backers could simply hire some other PMC.
Whoever it is, do you really think they're interested in the pipeline? Who'd benefit besides the Georgians?
Hard to say. Whatever the plan was, it went up in flames with Dolzaev's suicide. The problem is that there are countless companies and governments profiting off the BTC pipeline. Whoever is behind it, they may be too big for a simple security firm like us to do anything.
Yeah, one thing we do know, though, is that Sundowner's more than just a pawn in all of this. We need to watch him. Trafficking or not, we need to stop their operation here.
Find the evidence, and perhaps we can do that. And Tovarich, be careful.
Have you ever worked with this client of ours before?
Duh. Several active human rights groups engage in non-violent interventions like this one. Typically, they hire firms like ours to provide security and backup. Most serious human rights abuses take place in unstable regions, after all. Legitimate human rights groups, not fakes set up by oil firm or such things, they cannot handle it.
Yeah. It's different for private groups working in hostile regions, especially when some of that hostility comes from the local authorities.
Indeed. NGOs and security firms play a greater role in peacekeeping, too. You know, DDR business. Disarmament, demobilization, reintegration. Like the UN runs it. Usually, carrying weapons is not permitted for the group involved, for obvious reasons.
So outfits like ours run guard duty. If the locals don't like armed peacekeepers, then they pretend to be unarmed observers instead.
Duh. It's beneficial for the client if the locals are aware of the firepower backing them, though. I've drank tea with the sort of people my company would normally be pushing back with the butts of our rifles. It's very different from usual. More direct sort of security work, especially at beginning. But I got used to it. Less danger of unexpected conflict, and the pay is pretty good. We've built a good reputation for this kind of work. This is why NGO hired us for this job.
How are things back in Abkhazia?
Thanks to the full efforts of the only the fuel input, and then thankfully the plant we
Good day. Let's
we can even
whoever
whoever
yeah we need
find and to
This trial mentioned someone from her past. Any idea who that could have been?
None. I checked her file again, couldn't find a thing. Definitely not Dolzaev. Probably not Sundowner either.
No. The way she put it, it didn't sound like anyone I've encountered so far. Maybe someone involved in backing Desperado.
If so, sounds like they're providing more than just financing. Maybe they share the same philosophy.
That'd be bad. People willing to die for their leaders aren't so easy to predict.
Yeah, but other than the wins, Desperado's cyborgs are all just hired contractors. They're probably emotion suppressed with nanos or drugs or whatever, but that's about it.
You're probably right. You know, I've never really developed a taste for climbing through sewers. And Guadalajaras aren't exactly wowing me either. This place isn't gonna go up in flames, right? I think I saw something about that in the briefing.
You're talking about 1992? What a mess. Over 200 people killed. That was almost a half-century ago, though. You smell anything off? Before the explosions, residents complained they smelled gas from the sewers.
I'm in a sewer, Kev. You think I've got my smell receptors on? Local air analysis doesn't show anything potentially poisonous or explosive, though.
Well, you ought to be fine then. Besides, little gas explosion's probably not gonna kill someone like you.
Well, that's very encouraging. Seriously, though, Guadalajara is not a bad place. At least from what I've seen.
Oh, it's not. Second largest city in Mexico, after all. I've actually spent a lot of time down there. It's got a lot of charm. The architecture is a fusion of Latin and old colonial Spanish culture. The city's historic district is home to a massive cathedral overlooking the whole town. It's always bustling. It's a lot of fun just kicking back and watching the locals. Walking around the Libertad, taking in the sun with a cerveza in one hand, mariachi band nearby. No better way to spend a weekend, let me tell you.
If this PMC thing doesn't work out, you'd make one hell of a tour guide. Meanwhile, I'm down in this dark, filthy, humid, cramped sewer.
Also, if you ask me, the girls over there are the hottest in all of Mexico. You wouldn't believe some of the chicas I've chatted up. On the street, in the shopping malls, at the bars.
Sounds like better company than a robo-wolf and a bunch of plague-ridden mice.
Well, hang in there. I'll buy you a shot of tequila after we wrap this up. The city of Tequila's not far, actually. That's where it originated.
I'll take you up on that. Now let's get this over with. Hey, Kev, let me ask you something.
What's up? We've been over pretty much all the...
No. Those girls in Guadalajara, you never told me what happened.
Jeez, man, we're in the middle of a mission here.
So they used you for free drinks and then took off, I take it, huh?
Well, they weren't really my type. I'm more of an intellectual, you know? I don't go for just any random girl at a bar. Looks are one thing, but I need someone I can talk to. Someone fun but clever with a good sense of humor.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Look, Kev, you're in your 30s now. It's time to stop holding out for Lil Miss Perfect. You just need to find someone nice. You know, settle down, start a family.
Okay, Mom. Okay.
Laugh all you want, Kev, but having kids will change your life. I can't see him all the time with work and all. But whenever I'm back home, he's always so excited to see me. When I see that, I feel like, you know, I want to do whatever I can to keep him happy.
Sure, I hear you. But look, man, I was just having some fun in Mexico. Wasn't seriously searching for a wife or anything.
I know, but separate from that, I just think you've gotten too damn picky. I can understand trying to find the ideal woman when you're young, but you know what? It's those little imperfections, those idiosyncrasies that keep things interesting in the long run. You come to appreciate that kind of stuff in a lifetime relationship.
Idiosyncrasies, huh? Like if she snores or she talks loud during movies?
Well, not if she talks during movies. A man's gotta have some standards. Miss Trall mentioned someone from her past. Any idea who that could have been?
None. I checked her file again, couldn't find a thing. Definitely not Dolzaev. Probably not Sundowner either.
No. The way she put it, it didn't sound like anyone I've encountered so far. Maybe someone involved in backing Desperado.
If so, sounds like they're providing more than just financing. Maybe they share the same philosophy.
That'd be bad. People willing to die for their leaders aren't so easy to predict.
Yeah, but other than the wins, Desperado's cyborgs are all just hired contractors. They're probably emotion suppressed with nanos or drugs or whatever, but that's about it.
You're probably right. Miss Trall mentioned someone from her past. Any idea who that could...
No,
No, maybe...
If...
that...
Yeah, they're probably...
I can't believe Dolzaev blew himself up.
Pretty common terror tactic. You don't usually see the leaders doing it, though. It's one thing to get your flock pumped up on the glory of dying for the cause, but it's not often they actually go through with it themselves.
You gotta have a public face, after all. The guy who gets to claim responsibility on the evening news.
In a weird way, Dozayev showed some serious dedication. Not that I'm about to praise him for it.
Yeah, still a terrorist. A suicide bomber in the end.
If that's what you want to call him. Still, he kind of failed at it.
How so?
Well, all that explosion did was put a dent in Abkhazia's budget. More Russia's, really. They're the ones rebuilding the refinery. The coup didn't work out. He couldn't overthrow the government. He was barely a blip on Russia's radar.
So, you're saying the bombing didn't accomplish any of his goals? He did it just because he was cornered? Sounds more like just plain suicide.
Yeah. Probably wanted to end things with his own hands. Like a samurai committing harakiri.
Still not something to be commended for, though.
Yeah. Lumping him in with true warriors like the samurai just gives them a bad name.
I hope she didn't get to you. Wanting to protect the weak that's worth striving for.
Don't worry. I've heard more than a few supervillain spiels in my time. Maybe we had some things in common in our past, but not anymore. I bring my beliefs into every battle I fight. You want to call me foolish? Well, that's not going to change me.
I'm glad to hear that, Raiden.
Yeah, thanks. Raiden out.
Say, Raiden, where'd you get that hat you were wearing?
The sombrero? Well, picked it up at a souvenir store here. I guess I just kind of like the design. Also, when you're on a scout mission, it's vital that you use the local attire to blend into the background.
Yeah. I think it looked pretty good on you. You looked like some kind of mariachi singer.
Oh, you think so?
Yep. Only, that's kind of a problem too.
How so?
Well, I mean, that sombrero really is meant to be part of a mariachi costume. Mexicans don't wear hats like that normally.
Come on. The guy at the shop told me I'd look just like a local.
Yeah, a local tourist maybe. Look, you might see a lot of Mexican men wearing sombreros during their daily routines, but, nothing like that. They'd go for something a lot more simple and compact. Something not all that different from cowboy hats in the Old West.
Are you sure?
I don't know if it's true or not, but I have heard one theory about the modern cowboy hat. They say it's based on the sombreros the original Western settlers brought from Mexico. Of course, cowboy hats come in all shapes and sizes, so you can't really say a specific one's the cowboy hat.
Huh. Well, now I know why the locals were so eager to get a look at me.
That wasn't the hat. By the way, Raiden, have you ever eaten nopalitos? They're typically called nopales.
Huh. Oh, like that street vendor was selling. Nope. Nopales.
Well, that's too bad. You really ought to try some while you're in the area.
Yeah, but it's from a cactus, right? Doesn't it taste all thin and watery?
Not at all. It's kind of like the flesh of aloe vera leaves, or the seaweed used in Japanese cooking. It's got this really soft but crunchy texture, and it's really versatile. You can eat nopales as is in a salad, saute them, stir-fry them with steak, put them in tacos. You can even toss them in a blender to make some juice.
I had no idea.
Tell me about it. I got hooked after Boris took me to this one Mexican restaurant. After that, I just had to learn more about them. Ooh, for example, they're really low in calories. They also have lots of soluble and insoluble fiber, which not only promotes digestion, but is great for maintaining healthy cholesterol and blood pressure levels. It's even thought to help prevent intestinal cancer. It's packed with healthy stuff too, like vitamins B and C, potassium, and iron.
Okay, I get it. It's good for you. So how does it taste?
Huh? I just told you.
Never mind. Probably can't capture any food down here anyway. Not that I'd need to. My muscles run on fuel cells, and I've got enough blood sugar to keep my brain running for another week.
Well, you can still eat though, right?
Yep.
So, how about we all go out for Mexican once you're done? Food's a lot more than just an energy supply, you know? It's meant to be enjoyed.
With that, I agree.
Raiden, can I ask you something?
Sure. What is it?
Just wondering, why'd you join Maverick in the first place?
Well, Boris and I go way back. Our first time working together was rescuing Sunny. That's Colonel Gerlukovich's granddaughter. He and Boris were good friends back in the USSR.
Right. The Patriots were holding her?
Yeah. I was mainly working with the PLA, but Boris was a huge help. His Russian military connections paid off big time. All his covert op experience, too. He wasn't working pro bono, of course, but he went above and beyond the call. The Patriots were a threat to everyone, not just America. He got that.
And when Paradise Lost disbanded, he formed a new outfit and got them all work.
Most of them, anyway, including me.
Did you ever consider another line of work? Something non-military, I mean?
I'm a cyborg, Courtney. What am I gonna do? Drive an ice cream truck? I can pass as normal from a distance, but up close, anyone can tell it's artificial skin. Good jobs aren't easy to come by these days, even for non-cyborgs, and I've got a family to feed. Besides, I've been fighting my whole life. It's just who I am.
Sorry, I didn't mean to pry.
It's fine, Courtney. No worries. So, Courtney, you've heard my story. What about you? How'd you end up at Maverick?
Me? Well, it's funny. I was a business major, actually. Thought I'd go for an MBA. When I was in school, there was a lot of talk about the widening gap between rich and poor. I figured I'd join the 1% and never have to worry about money again. Pretty noble, huh? Anyway, around then you started hearing all about this war economy stuff on the news. I was, I don't know, disgusted, I guess. Disillusioned for sure.
And that changed your mind?
It wasn't just the war stuff that bothered me. It's everything it represented. How so much of what the First World enjoys comes at the expense of Third World people. The more I researched, the more I realized how bad things are. Underreported, too. After that, money wasn't such a priority anymore. I know how trite that sounds, but it's true. I wasn't naive, though. I knew living in some hippie commune or going Amish wouldn't change anything. So I started looking for a career where I felt I might actually have an impact.
You didn't worry about working at a PMC? Becoming part of the problem?
Well, I wasn't going to sign up with just anybody. But not all PMCs are bad, you know? Some of them, sure. They'll do anything for a buck, no questions asked. That's why someone has to stand up to them. Protect the innocent from those guys.
That's us in a nutshell. So you did your homework and found Maverick.
Honestly, it was more dumb luck than anything else. I had a friend who knew I was interested in this kind of work who was also friends with Kevin. They introduced us, we set up a meeting, and here I am.
That's right. I always forget you and Kev went to the same school. Huh. Definitely not your typical path to joining a PMC, that's for sure.
I really am here to fix the world. I know it's a cliche, but there it is.
Well, I for one am glad to hear it. So how's it been since you joined Maverick, Courtney? About what you expected?
Not even close. I had no idea what I was signing up for. You deal in a lot of expensive weapons and equipment that can save people's lives. But at the same time, you can't just ignore the bottom line. You catch yourself measuring lives in dollars and cents.
Yeah, the business side can get pretty messy.
Messy is right. But I won't just ignore it. I can't make informed decisions without confronting the ugly realities.
Not an easy burden to bear, Courtney.
Well, if it ever gets to be too much, I'll reconsider. But for now, I'm fine. I can handle it. What's up? Okay, save complete. Don't let your guard down, okay?
Remember now, Raiden. Left hands. Recover as many as you can.
I got it, Doc. I got it. I'll bring back all the flash memory you can handle.
Holographic memory. It's very different from standard semiconductor memory, you know.
Yeah. But it's still solid-state storage, right?
Well, yes, but they are perhaps more different than they are similar. Holographic memory utilizes the same optical interference that holograms rely upon.
Right. That image is used to appear 3D.
Traditional media reads and writes bits on a two-dimensional surface in linear fashion. Holographic memory, however, does this in 3 dimensions, using light at different angles.
And that gives you... what?
Speed. It can read over a gigabit of data in a second. And capacity. A 2-inch square cube of lithium niobate crystal can store 4 terabytes of data. It is also highly resilient against data loss caused by damage to any part of its media. This is because the bit information is not localized, but used as an optical diffractor across the medium. For battle data, there is no better type of storage.
Beats having a hard drive clacking away inside your arm anyway.
Indeed. Spinning media. Hard to imagine we ever put up with such nonsense.
So, Doc, what kind of data can you extract from those left hands anyway?
Oh, all manner of information. But the short list? Energy consumption, damage level, intracranial and blood pressure, blood sugar, other vitals, GPS history, speed and acceleration data, radio and optical readings, recorded computations from the internal expert battle support system.
Doc.
Time-stamped readings of distortion and acceleration gauges whenever the body was impacted. Stress is applied to the CNT muscle fibers in all 4 limbs, as well as any localized breakdowns.
All right, Doc.
Power consumption rates, remaining battery charge, type and amount of weaponry used, codec logs and wavelengths, voice transcripts, encryption methods.
Okay, Doc, okay. Sorry I asked.
As a field of technology, cyborg warfare is still in its infancy, you know. It is my duty as an engineer to collect and analyze as much data as possible for every conceivable situation. The resulting database will help drive future technology, both modifications and advances.
Makes sense. But why the left hand? Why store it all there?
Accessibility. A unit can remove it with its own right hand, or it can be recovered if the unit is damaged. I would advise you not to remove your own holographic storage, however, unless absolutely necessary. To facilitate recording of everything you see, hear, and so on, it is tied directly to your cranial nerves. So, each time the storage is connected or disconnected, your hippocampus is stimulated. This can result in memory loss, flashbacks, and all manner of unpleasant effects.
Yeah, I have some experience with that. It's a little more than unpleasant.
Perhaps we could chit-chat later, Raiden. I'd hate to occupy too much of your time.
Wolf? You're a one-of-a-kind prototype, right?
Correct. I was originally conceived as a weapon to replace humans and cyborgs. Conversation and intelligent decision-making were deemed essential to the role. The project was eventually cancelled after 3 years in development.
Why?
I have intelligence, but I lack a specific quality essential to any combatant.
What's that?
Brutality. I am not human, thus I lack the brutality inherent to humanity. I was shut down, then revived, apparently on Sundowner's orders.
Sundowner? But what's he want with you?
Unknown. A manifestation of his sense of humor, perhaps. As a machine, I am more sensitive to my fellow man than an actual fellow man. This amused him.
Guy has an odd sense of humor. So, you were under Mistral's command all this time?
I originally took orders from Sundowner, but not for long. As a novelty, I did not last. Mistral saw more potential in me.
What'd she see?
Unknown. However, she apparently enjoys the company of dogs. She demanded 100% obedience. As long as it was given, she treated me well.
She was looking for companionship?
That I cannot say. I still have relatively little communication experience with humans. My ability to read emotions not explicitly expressed by speech is lacking.
Wolf? You're a one-of-a-kind prototype.
Correct.
Why?
What's brutality? I am not human. I was shut down.
Sundowner? But what's he want with you?
Unknown. A manifestation as a machine. I am more sensitive to my fellow man than an actual fellow man. This amused him.
Guy has an odd sense of humor.
Unidentified UGs are patrolling the sewers. Exercise caution.
Better take out that UG quick. Don't want to attract too much attention down there.
Have you ever worked with this client of ours before?
Da. Typically, most serious.
Yeah.
In the usual.
So if the
Da. It's very. We've built.
Miss Trial mentioned someone from her. Any idea?
No, definitely.
No. Maybe
If
that.
yeah, they're probably.
I see a maintenance catwalk. Use it to conceal yourself if necessary.
There's the Raiden I know.
Raiden, there is a boy in these sewers.
¿Estás bien?
What you say?
Oh.
Me a Guyanese, from Guyana. You speak English?
Yeah, I'm from America. Call me Raiden.
Me name George, like Georgetown.
George.
And just like all damn America president.
Yeah. So what are you doing here?
Me? What the rest of you do here? You lose the map of Ninja Hideout, Ninja Man?
No, I'm looking for bad guys.
Ah, damn Skunter research lab.
You know about it?
Me know me now go back. Hey, you're not one of them skunt, nah? Nah, I guess you're alright. If you're a cyborg, you know who they is?
Sort of. What happened to you?
Oh, me been live on the street, rake and scrape for a bob, nah? Then this kootenai dressed like the mafia say, hey boy, you want a job? What the worst gonna happen, nah? But that mother skunt don't put me on a ras boat. They pack us all a big old dirty container. Next thing we know, we're here at that zombie lab.
All kids? Like you?
Yeah, a lot of boy. But then me been over here what them skunt wanna do. Snuff us out. And got all the organ.
So you ran?
Uh-huh. You shame me not a bad-ass robot ninja man, same as you. Me been strongest cyborg ever. Warlock all them phantoms in black clothes that eye pass me.
Starting to sound like a bad guy yourself.
Just playing, nah? Me done plenty bad thing. But me not kill no man. Nah, never.
Good.
We tried to warn the boy. I say, IOD's brain gonna get cut out. Run your ass out of there. But them boy with me no understand. They like Spanish or something. So me the only one for escape. Then that machine come after me and...
And I know the rest. George, I need every detail about how you escaped.
Oh.
So the kid got into the sewers through a drainage channel?
Yeah, he says the channel is super tight, but there's some kind of shutter next to it.
Got it. That must be where they dumped the waste.
There's something else. It sounds like a Desperado exec was on site yesterday. If a Sentry Cyborg was on hand for the meeting.
You should be able to review their video log, provided you can find a server access terminal. That would give us the evidence we need, as well as a little peek at the level of their technology.
So what about the kid?
I made sure the area was secure and told him to sit tight. Can you pick him up?
Sure. I'll send a couple agents for him. You just focus on getting into that lab. If what he said is true about the organs, we need to hurry.
Agreed. Raiden out. Boris, we've got kids being held inside this lab. I'm getting them out of there.
Copy that. I will discuss with NGO what to do with them afterward.
What are you thinking?
Well, this is difficult. I imagine these are homeless children, taken from streets. Likely they have no home to return to. But we cannot dump them back on streets. We could look for adoptions in US, but some of these kids may be criminals. Could be drug addicts, HIV positive. Not so easy to find homes.
Yeah, wasn't easy for me either. The guys at the relief center were always worried I'd cause problems for my foster family.
The alternative is putting them in an institution until they grow up. But this has issues as well. Most are already past capacity. Taking on this many street kids at one time would be impossible. Also, it's a matter of fairness. Is it fair to take in these kids here when millions more are dying? I imagine this is why rescue was not part of our contracted mission. The human rights NGOs, they know they can't rescue them all. They must take a wide view and confront the problem of traffickers, not their victims.
Well, we can't just sit here and let them pull kids to pieces.
Duh. On this, we agree. For now, rescue the children. We'll worry about the fallout later.
Copy that.
Raiden, I said earlier this is an infiltration mission. But if it comes to combat when rescuing the children, so be it. If enemy cyborgs attack, you are free to respond with all available force.
I figured.
Attacking first, that would be a gray area, legally speaking. but I doubt anyone would take us to court over it.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
Just keep your hands off all non-combatants. That would violate international law, not to mention morals of company.
I hear you.
Raiden, I said earlier, if attack, but
Yeah.
just that would...
That kid said he's from Guyana. That's on the Caribbean side of South America, right? Know anything about it?
A little, though I'm more of an expert on Africa than the Americas. To be exact, Guyana's sandwiched between Venezuela and Suriname, with Brazil on its southern border. Of course, the Venezuelan border is sheer rainforest. There aren't even any roads through it. You have to cross the Guyana Shield to get to Brazil, too.
So it's pretty isolated from the rest of the continent.
Most inland connections run through Suriname, opposite of Venezuela. Beyond Suriname is French Guyana. The three countries are referred to as the Guyanas, and the entire region's got its own unique culture sphere.
The Guyanas? I've heard the name, but I don't really know it at all.
Same here. I do know the region's a lot smaller than Brazil, or even Venezuela for that matter. As you know, most South American countries have Spanish as their official language. Brazil uses Portuguese. Guyana, though, uses English. Suriname uses Dutch, and French Guyana uses French, naturally.
A kind of divide-and-conquer approach to colonialism, huh?
Yeah. They're all independent now except French Guyana, though. Sort of like what you see in Africa. I did some research after you met George. Culturally, at least, Guyana's more Caribbean than South American.
Yeah? He looked a little Asian to me.
There's a lot of immigrants from India living there. They were both British colonies, after all. It's a lot more influence from the UK than India, though. I mean, look at George's name, after all.
An English-speaking South American of Indian background.
Everything good over there, Raiden? You, don't seem like you're in much of a hurry.
Give me some time. I've got a lot of intel to gather. Speaking of which, I'd better get going. Riding out. Those brains are from the street kids they picked up in Central and South America, right? Abducted by traffickers and sold to Desperado.
Right. And now it looks like they're selling off their organs.
That part of the world's full of homeless kids.
True. Though really just about every nation's full of them. Except the richest ones, that is. You see a lot of them across the African and Asian continents, too. Estimates put the worldwide number of homeless children at anywhere from tens to hundreds of millions.
Kind of a broad range. I guess it's hard to do solid research in the kinds of places where you'd find them.
True enough. The way the Human Rights NGO put it, though, it's hard to define what a street child is. There's lots of different types. Some are on the street because they ran away from home, but really they can return any time. Some work on the street but go home at night. And some kids literally live on the street with no family.
Go home at night? Those kids still count as street children?
Well, the point is that there's no set definition. Everyone involved has their own take on the issue. Without a clear definition, estimates inevitably end up all over the map.
Makes sense.
If you're going to talk about street kids, though, I think you need to differentiate. There are the kids who live on the street and the ones that just work it. Little things can make a huge difference if you've got a home and a family to fall back on. Even if you're just running a fruit stand or shoe shine operation. Kind of presumptuous for me to say which is better, I guess, but you can't just ignore that aspect.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine how helpless you feel when you've got no one to fall back on.
Yeah. Opinions similarly divided on the child labor issue, too. Some say all underage labor should be banned. Others think the decision should be left up to the family. I mean, sure, kids shouldn't be exploited or pressed into military service. If nothing else, the right to an education's got to be protected. But should a kid be banned from helping out at his dad's store? What if a family's so desperate that it would starve without the money their children bring in?
Yeah, it's definitely not cut and dry. Miss Trawl mentioned someone from her past. Any idea who that could have been?
None. I checked her file again, couldn't find a thing. Definitely not Dolzaev. Probably not Sundowner either.
No, maybe
if
that...
Yeah, they're probably...
I can't believe what they're doing in there. Guess I shouldn't be so surprised, huh?
Guess not.
Are you gonna help them?
No other choice.
I'll try to help look for someplace that might take them in.
Thanks.
Least I can do. Did you want to save your data? Okay, save complete. Don't let your guard down, okay? By the way, I didn't know you spoke Spanish.
I've got the US Army to thank for that. I was in a group called Foxhound, although it doesn't exist on paper. We were isolated from the other soldiers. Day after day of VR training.
I heard about that.
It's not like it was all VR, though. Special Forces guys need advanced physical and communication skills. I had to do all the basic training and language schoolwork, too. We even trained in the Afghan village set up at Fort Polk.
The Afghan village?
They built a mock urban area on a base in Louisiana for training purposes. It was a hell of a lot more realistic than the VR training we had back then. Nothing compared to cyborg training, though. Having it jacked right in like that.
They say it's so realistic now you can feel your blade cutting through flesh.
You know much about Guyana, Courtney?
Not really. I know the name, but don't ask me anything about what it's like.
You mean you haven't even tried the food?
Nope. No research trips this time. Besides, who knew we'd be running into any Guyanese here? I'm looking now, though. Looks like a lot of their diet is seafood. It's a small coastal nation, so it's probably easy to get fresh fish across the whole country. A lot of their dishes use Indian spices. That's where a lot of their immigrants come from.
Fish with curry, huh? Sounds tasty. But maybe you could finish reading all about the food there after the mission.
Huh? Oh, it just, came up while I was reading up on Guyana in general.
Right. Well, let me know if you find anything actually useful.
It just popped up in the search results, I swear. What's up? No? Did you need...
No, just one.
Oh, save it for your wife, Raiden.
Very well done, Raiden.
Oh, thanks, I guess.
That raptor may have been smaller than an Irving, but its potential is simply remarkable. Defeating it is a fine demonstration of your body's abilities. I'm quite happy to see it working so well.
Well, thanks, Doc. I'm quite happy I'm not dead, too.
How did it feel to fight it?
Well, an Irving has more strength and firepower. But this guy was a lot harder to keep a beat on. Not that big of a deal, but you definitely don't want to let your guard down around one.
Indeed. A combination Irving and tripod force would be a formidable foe in any urban warfare scenario. The only problem is cost. A PMC would have to be well funded indeed to even think about acquiring the necessary numbers to make it work. There are situations where an Irving may be overkill, but tripods cannot provide the necessary force.
So the Raptor was built to fill that gap?
Indeed. Its basic design is a streamlined, more compact version of the Irving. Furthermore, it uses the same control system as the tripods, which helps keep costs low. It can use standard personnel weaponry as is, and its armor has been componentized. This is to say, the user can expand its defensive capability as needed. It's fit for standard military operations, anti-terror missions, even regular patrol and police duty. A most admirable jack of all trades. Adorable too, wouldn't you say?
Not the first word that comes to mind.
Ah, yes. My apologies. I can't help but marvel at a well-made machine when I see one. There's no need to be jealous, though. Your body is still quite impressive as well.
Yeah, thanks, Doc.
How is Wolf faring?
Hard to say just yet. Seems like he's doing okay.
Good. I'm so pleased my repairs were effective.
He seems happy enough, but I don't know. Can a machine really be happy? Maybe he's just being directed by his programming to behave that way.
And what is wrong with that? If something you do for someone else is appreciated, it makes you happy. It's a perfectly normal reaction, one that applies whether you're man or machine, and whether or not you have intelligence.
I guess so.
When you watch a film, does it not make you happy when good things happen to the heroes in the end?
I'm not seeing the connection.
Well, those heroes are not really happy. They're just following a script written by someone else. The actors have human intelligence, but the characters themselves do not. It is a facade, an imitation, and yet we still feel an emotional connection. It does not matter that it is make-believe. Now, I certainly don't know whether the AI you encountered in the past was neural or not. but Wolf most certainly is. And with a neuro AI, it is not so simple as working off a set computer program. You can define intelligence however you like, but personally I see no reason not to say Wolf has it. It possesses a neuro AI structurally similar to the human brain. It has learned enough of the world around it to be capable of human speech. Truly, an astounding artificial intelligence is at work here. One I suspect could make for substantial business opportunities given the chance. Think of the possibilities, Raiden. What do you think a truly intelligent AI could do for the world?
I'll let you know if I think of anything. Raiden out. You know, Doc, if you're such a big believer in cyborgs, why haven't you made the jump yourself?
An excellent question. There is one very good reason for this.
And that is? Wait. Is there some problem with the tech you didn't tell me about?
No problem with the technology. The issue is I would be required to be separated from my original body before I could be transferred.
And? So what?
Well, then there's no way for me to oversee installation into my new body.
You could have someone else do it.
Ha! Amateure! Hacks! I would not trust the average cybernetic surgeon to repair my toaster oven. I possess one of the world's foremost minds on this field, Raiden. This is not a boast, it is a fact. Entrusting that to someone less talented... Imagine a great architect asking an infant to build his new home.
No offense, but I mean you're just assembling some...
Raiden. Raiden, this is not like putting together your bookshelf. It is quite literally brain surgery. More than that, in fact. There is an art to doing it correctly.
All right, Doc, all right. I hear you.
I suppose I should not expect you to understand. Regardless, I am in fine health for now. Perhaps by the time my body begins to decline, there will be others that might be trusted with the duty. But which body to choose? Perhaps a young female frame to surprise all my colleagues.
To surprise your colleagues, right.
How is Wolf faring?
Hard to say just yet. Seems like he's...
Good.
He's maybe...
And what it's a...
I get...
When you were... well, and yet... now I start the Wolf, and was you can... It was truly one thing...
I'll let you... Let me ask you something. What do you think you're doing here? I mean, why are you working with me?
Because I choose to. I owe a debt, and I wish to repay it.
A debt, huh? How human of you.
I contest that statement. Many humans possess little or no sense of obligation at all. And many are entirely willing to trample their fellow man for personal gain.
I know. But is that it? I mean, you're willing to follow me, put yourself at risk just because of that? What do you think of what I'm doing here, for example?
A delicate question. I do find it difficult to rationalize your mission to rescue the children. If you wish to save children in need, there are hundreds of millions of others equally in need.
Thanks for the support.
However, we must still uncover the full extent of Desperado's activities. And as such, it is meaningless to debate best practices without sufficient information.
All right then. No more questions, Your Honor. Let me ask you something. What do you think you're doing here? I mean, why are you working with me?
Because I choose to. I owe a debt, and I wish to repay it.
A debt? What do you think?
A debt if you... How... And... It is possible they are conducting test operations while the lab is closed.
They're not gonna make it easy to get into that lab. Is there some way you could sneak past? It's a box. How's that gonna help? Oh, it's for medical supplies. That could work, actually.
We intercepted call for backup during your last fight. The caller's position is on your Soliton radar. You can engage if you wish. It is your choice. You're under attack! They keep on coming! Good, Raiden, very good!
Raiden, I have determined the approximate location of the lab based on the boy's information. It is marked on your Soliton radar.
Nice hiding spot. Wonder where he learned that from.
Raiden, I have discovered the entrance to the lab. Sending coordinates to your Soliton radar.
Raiden, I said earlier this is an attack, but just that would...
This would appear to be the UG maintenance area. You should find a terminal there. Something they use to upload mission parameters to the UGs.
And something I can use to access the lab's main server?
Perhaps. But first you need to take a dump.
Wait, what?
A dump? A digital optical output mounted proxy. You'll need one to interface with the terminal. Most any UG should suffice. A tripod or the like.
I'll see what I can come up with. How do I use it?
Simply connect to it. You should be able to use your communications outlay to control the proxy UG.
All right, let's give it a shot.
Raiden, if attack, but just that would...
Miss Troll mentioned someone from her past. Any idea?
No,
No, maybe
if
that...
Yeah, they're probably...
What's up? Okay, save don't let you...
Have you located any tripods, Raiden?
None around here.
They may be clustered near a single spot. A maintenance area, perhaps. Have you checked there?
I will now.
Have you located...
None around... I will...
You have entered the lab.
Yeah. You're falling behind, Wolf.
My apologies.
It's fine. Just get here as soon as you can.
I have failed in my duties as a scout. There is no excuse. This has never happened to me before.
I said it's fine, Wolf. It's no big deal. Just get here ASAP, okay?
Thank you. I shall redeem myself. I swear that to you.
Okay. Let me ask you something. What do you think you're doing here? I mean, why are you working with me?
Because I choose. I
What do you...
if you, however,